The unseen threat. In the dimly lit command center of the Earth's space fleet, the air crackled with tension. Screens flickered with data streams, and murmurs of concern filled the room. The latest reports from the Outer Rim were unsettling. Humanity's space expansion had brought them into the path of an unknown alien species, a race of technologically advanced beings known as the Tsaurians. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned officer with a reputation for quick thinking, paced in front of the command table. The Tsaurians had been observed conducting strange maneuvers near the outskirts of human territories. Their ships, sleek and angular, emitted a low-frequency hum that interfered with communications. The Earth fleet had lost contact with several outposts in the region, and whispers of a potential conflict were growing louder by the day. Sarah's thoughts were interrupted by the entrance of Captain Lucas Ramirez, a grizzled veteran who had seen more battles than he cared to count. He was carrying a folder filled with the latest intelligence reports. "Commander Mitchell, we have new intel," he said, handing over the folder. "The Tsaurians have been silent for weeks, but we've picked up new activity." Mitchell opened the folder and scanned the contents. The Tsaurians were known for their enigmatic and unpredictable behavior. Recent satellite images showed their ships gathering near a strategically significant asteroid belt. This belt contained valuable minerals and was crucial for the ongoing human colonization efforts. If the Tsaurians were planning to claim it, it could lead to an all-out conflict. "We need to find out what they're up to," Sarah said, her voice firm. "We can't afford any surprises." The decision was made to send a reconnaissance team to the asteroid belt. Sarah and Captain Ramirez would lead the mission, accompanied by a crew of highly skilled pilots and engineers. Their task was clear: gather intelligence on the Tsaurians' intentions and prepare for any possible engagement. As the team prepared for their departure, the gravity of the situation began to settle in. The Tsaurians were known for their combat prowess and had a reputation for being formidable opponents. Despite their technological advantages, humanity had always prided itself on its resourcefulness and adaptability. This mission would be a test of their resolve and ingenuity. Sarah's team boarded their sleek, stealth-equipped spacecraft. The ship, named Eagle's Eye, was designed for covert operations and was equipped with the latest in sensor and communications technology. As the engines roared to life and the ship lifted off from the docking bay, the crew exchanged determined glances. They were about to enter a potentially hostile environment, but they were ready. The journey to the asteroid belt was tense but uneventful. As they approached their destination, the crew deployed a series of drones to scout the area. The drones transmitted real-time data back to the ship, revealing the presence of several Tsaurian vessels. The Tsaurian ships were arranged in a defensive formation around the asteroid belt, but there was no immediate sign of aggression. Sarah and her team carefully maneuvered their ship into a hidden position, observing from the shadows of a large asteroid. The Tsaurians seemed to be engaged in a complex operation involving the mining of asteroids and the transfer of resources to their larger ships. It was clear that they were preparing for something big. Captain Ramirez analyzed the data. "They're extracting valuable minerals and loading them onto their ships. It looks like they're gearing up for a major operation." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. "We need to report this back to command immediately. We can't afford to let them gain a foothold in this sector." The team prepared to send their findings to Earth Command, but just as they were about to transmit the data, a new development occurred. One of the Tsaurian ships, larger and more heavily armed than the others, began to move towards the outer edge of the asteroid belt. It was as if they were preparing to break through the sector's defenses. Sarah's instincts kicked in. "We need to find out where they're going. This could be a diversion for a larger attack." With the reconnaissance mission far from over, Sarah and her crew followed the Tsaurian ship, staying out of its detection range. Their journey led them to a hidden space station, one that had been camouflaged to avoid detection. The station was massive, bristling with weaponry and advanced technology. As the crew gathered data on the space station, they realized that this was no ordinary outpost. It was a staging ground for a potential invasion, and the Xelrians were preparing for a major offensive. The realization sent a chill through the team. Humanity was on the brink of a significant confrontation with a powerful alien adversary. With their mission now more critical than ever, Sarah and her crew made the decision to return to Earth Command with their findings. They would need to prepare for the worst and devise a strategy to counter the Xelrians' plans. The journey back was filled with anticipation and anxiety. The crew knew that their next steps would determine the course of humanity's future. The stakes were high, and the outcome of this conflict could change everything. As the Eagle's Eye re-entered Earth's space, Sarah took a deep breath. The battle ahead would be a test of humanity's strength and resilience, but she was confident in her team and their ability to rise to the challenge. The story of this conflict was just beginning, and humanity was about to face its greatest test yet. With determination and courage, they would confront the Xelrians and prove that they were more than capable of defending their place in the cosmos. The gathering storm. Back at Earth Command, the urgency of the situation was palpable. The data transmitted from the Eagle's Eye was analyzed by the top military strategists and intelligence officers. The findings painted a grim picture. The Xelrians were preparing for an extensive operation that could threaten not just the outer colonies, but potentially the homeworld itself. General Ana Rodriguez, the head of Earth Command, convened an emergency meeting with her senior officers and advisors. The room was filled with tension as they reviewed the information from Sarah Mitchell and her team. Large holographic displays projected images of the Xelrian space station and their movements. The general's face was set in a grim expression. "This is not just a skirmish anymore," General Rodriguez said, her voice steady but filled with resolve. "The Xelrians are mobilizing for a full-scale assault. We need to act quickly to counter this threat." Colonel James Harris, a veteran strategist with years of experience in interstellar conflicts, stepped forward. "We've faced many challenges before, but this one is different. The Xelrians are technologically superior, and their intentions are clear. We need to deploy our forces and prepare for the worst." The general nodded in agreement. "Colonel Harris, I want you to lead the offensive operations. Prepare our fleets for immediate deployment. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell, your reconnaissance team has proven their capability. I'm assigning you to coordinate with Colonel Harris and lead the strategic planning." Sarah, who had been listening intently, felt a surge of determination. The gravity of their mission was immense, but she was ready to rise to the occasion. "Understood, General. We'll get to work immediately." As the planning session concluded, the atmosphere in Earth Command was a mix of urgency and resolve. The Earth fleet was mobilizing, and every available ship was being prepared for the impending conflict. The Xelrian threat was real, and the stakes were higher than ever. The following days were a whirlwind of activity. The fleet's strategic deployment was meticulously planned, with ships positioned to defend key locations and engage the Xelrians if necessary. The Earth's space forces included advanced destroyers, agile fighter craft, and heavily armored battleships. Each unit had a specific role in the coming conflict, from direct engagement to reconnaissance and support. Sarah and her team were tasked with gathering more intelligence on the Xelrians' capabilities and potential weaknesses. Their mission took them to various points along the Xelrian supply lines, where they intercepted communications and collected valuable data. They discovered that the Xelrians had developed a new type of energy weapon capable of penetrating human defenses. This information was critical for the Earth fleet to adapt their strategies. Meanwhile, the Xelrians were not idle. Their space station continued its operations, and the buildup of their forces was evident. The station's surface was a hive of activity, with ships coming and going, loading resources, and preparing for what appeared to be a major offensive. The Earth Command's analysts worked around the clock to develop countermeasures. They focused on designing defensive shields to withstand the new energy weapons and refining their attack strategies. Every detail was scrutinized, and every possible scenario was considered. One evening, as Sarah reviewed the latest data in the command center, she received a message from Captain Ramirez. The Xelrians had made a move that could indicate the start of their assault. The Earth fleet needed to be ready for immediate action. Sarah and Captain Ramirez coordinated their final preparations. The Eagle's Eye was equipped with advanced stealth technology and was ready for its role in the upcoming conflict. The mission would involve leading a diversionary strike to draw the Xelrians' attention away from Earth's main defensive lines. As the fleets assembled and the countdown to battle began, the mood among the crew was a mix of anticipation and resolve. The soldiers and officers knew the fight ahead would be tough, but their spirit was unbreakable. They had faced adversity before and emerged victorious. This time would be no different. General Rodriguez addressed the fleet through a broadcast message, her words resonating with strength and determination. Today, we face a formidable enemy, but we are united and prepared. We will protect our home, our people, and our future. Stand strong, fight hard, and let the Xelrians see the indomitable spirit of humanity. With the final preparations complete, the Earth fleet launched into space. The sight of hundreds of ships moving in unison was both awe-inspiring and reassuring. Humanity was ready to face the Xelrian threat head-on. As the fleet approached the asteroid belt and the hidden space station, the tension was palpable. The mission was clear: disrupt the Xelrians' operation, gather intelligence, and prepare for the impending clash. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and the time for action had arrived. In the cold expanse of space, the two forces prepared for their confrontation. The Earth fleet ships positioned themselves strategically, while the Xelrians continued their preparations. The stage was set for a battle that would test the limits of human ingenuity and courage. The storm was gathering, and the first clash between humanity and the Xelrians was about to begin. With resolve in their hearts and determination in their souls, the Earth fleet stood ready to face whatever came next. The clash of titans. The vast expanse of space, usually serene and calm, was now a stage for a monumental clash. The Earth fleet, a formidable array of advanced ships, hovered on the edge of the asteroid belt. The Xelrian space station loomed ahead, its dark, intimidating silhouette a stark contrast against the backdrop of distant stars. Every vessel in the Earth fleet was bristling with readiness, each crew member attuned to the gravity of the impending confrontation. General Ana Rodriguez, overseeing the battle from her command ship, the Vanguard, reviewed the final tactical adjustments. The holographic displays around her buzzed with data streams and real-time updates. She was a picture of focused determination, her seasoned eyes scanning the strategies and readiness reports. Colonel James Harris, stationed on the Sentinel, one of the fleet's heavy cruisers, was finalizing the attack plan with his officers. "We'll initiate the diversionary strike as planned," he said, pointing to the strategic points on the holographic map. "Our goal is to draw the Xelrians' attention away from the core systems and create an opening for our main assault." Meanwhile, Sarah Mitchell and her team aboard the Eagle's Eye were preparing for their critical role. The stealth ship had been outfitted with the latest cloaking technology and was set to perform a high-risk reconnaissance mission. The team's objective was to gather as much data as possible about the Xelrians' new energy weapon and their defensive capabilities. As the Earth fleet moved into position, the first signs of Xelrian activity were detected. A series of pulsating energy waves rippled through the space around the station, signaling the activation of their defensive systems. The Xelrians, fully aware of the threat, were not caught off guard. The tension heightened as both sides braced for the inevitable confrontation. The diversionary strike began as planned. The Sentinel and several other ships launched coordinated attacks on the outer defensive arrays of the Xelrian station. Bright bursts of energy illuminated the dark void as the Earth fleet's weaponry engaged the Xelrians' defenses. The Xelrian response was swift and fierce. Their energy shields flared into action, absorbing and deflecting the incoming fire. Sarah, cloaked within the Eagle's Eye, observed the chaos from her vantage point. The cloaking technology allowed them to remain hidden, but the intensity of the battle made it challenging to stay unnoticed. Her team worked furiously to extract critical data on the Tselrian's energy weapon. They managed to pinpoint its location within the station's core, but the data was incomplete and scattered due to the interference from the battle. The Tselrians, realizing the diversionary tactic, began to focus their attention on the Earth fleet's main forces. A massive wave of Tselrian fighters surged out from the station, engaging the Earth fleet in a ferocious dogfight. The void of space was filled with the streaks of laser fire and the explosions of damaged ships. The Earth fleet's pilots, skilled and disciplined, maneuvered their craft with precision. The Eagle's Eye darted through the battle, evading the Tselrians while continuing to gather intelligence. Sarah and her crew managed to intercept crucial communications that revealed the Tselrians' next move, a full-scale offensive targeting the heart of the Earth's defensive line. As the battle raged on, Colonel Harris gave the order for the main assault. The Vanguard and its accompanying fleet launched a full-scale attack on the Tselrian station. The massive guns of the Earth battleships roared to life, unleashing torrents of energy at the station's defenses. The Tselrians retaliated with their new energy weapon, its power evident in the immense energy bursts that shook the surrounding space. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Earth's ships fought valiantly, pushing through the Tselrians' defenses and advancing towards the core of the station. The Tselrians, though initially taken aback by the ferocity of the attack, adapted quickly. Their energy weapon, while powerful, was not invincible. The Earth fleet's tactical adjustments, based on the intelligence gathered by Sarah's team, began to turn the tide. Inside the Tselrian station, the core systems were under intense pressure. The Earth fleet's assault had breached several layers of defense, and the Tselrians were struggling to contain the damage. The Tselrian leadership, faced with the reality of a potentially catastrophic defeat, ordered a tactical retreat. As the Tselrians began to withdraw, the Earth fleet pursued with caution. The battle, though intense, had been a significant success. The Earth forces had managed to disrupt the Tselrian operation and gather crucial intelligence. The immediate threat had been mitigated, but the conflict was far from over. Sarah and her team returned to the Earth command post, their mission accomplished but their minds focused on the next steps. The data they had collected was invaluable, offering insights into the Tselrians' capabilities and vulnerabilities. The Earth fleet had proven its strength and resilience, but the war was only beginning. General Rodriguez addressed her fleet through a broadcast, her tone a mixture of pride and resolve. Today, we faced a formidable enemy and emerged victorious. Our strength, our unity, and our determination have shown through. But the battle is not over. We must remain vigilant and prepared for the challenges ahead. Together, we will ensure the safety of our people and the future of our world. As the Earth fleet regrouped and prepared for the next phase of the conflict, the crew members took a moment to reflect on their achievements. The battle had been fierce, but it had also showcased the indomitable spirit of humanity. The stage was set for the next chapter in this epic struggle, and the Earth fleet stood ready to face whatever came next. Echoes of the past. The aftermath of the battle left the space around the Tselrian station, littered with debris and shattered remnants of once powerful warships. The Earth fleet, though victorious, bore the marks of a grueling conflict. Ships with battle scars, damaged but operational, floated in the void as the fleet regrouped. The intensity of the skirmish had taken its toll, but the resilience of the human spirit shone through the haze of smoke and wreckage. On board the command ship Vanguard, General Ana Rodriguez and her senior officers convened in the war room. The holographic display in the center of the room showed the current state of the fleet and the Tselrian withdrawal patterns. The general's face, usually composed and stern, now carried the weight of the recent engagements. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've achieved a significant victory today." Rodriguez began, her voice steady, but laced with the gravity of their situation. "But the Tselrians are not finished. They've retreated, but this is only a temporary setback. We need to prepare for their next move. Colonel James Harris, still recovering from the adrenaline of the battle, nodded in agreement. The Tselrians are regrouping and likely planning their next offensive. We've disrupted their operations, but they'll adapt quickly. We need to stay ahead of them. The room fell into a focused silence as officers reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Sarah Mitchell, back from her reconnaissance mission, was busy analyzing the data she had gathered. Her team had provided crucial insights into the Tselrian's energy weapon, revealing not just its capabilities, but also its vulnerabilities. The energy weapon is more advanced than we initially thought, Sarah reported, her voice tinged with exhaustion. But we've identified a critical weakness in its power distribution network. If we can target this component, we might be able to neutralize it. The team began discussing strategies to exploit this weakness, but the conversation was interrupted by an unexpected transmission from Earth's High Command. The message was a call for a diplomatic summit. Despite the ongoing conflict, the High Command was seeking a potential peace agreement with the Tselrians. The goal was to explore any chance of de-escalating the situation and avoiding further bloodshed. General Rodriguez was skeptical, but understood the need for a multifaceted approach. While we prepare for further combat, we must also explore diplomatic avenues, she said. We don't know what the Tselrians are thinking, but we must be ready for any outcome. The summit was set to take place on a neutral space station located at the fringes of the contested zone. It would be a risky endeavor, but it was a chance to gain valuable intelligence and possibly avert a larger conflict. General Rodriguez, along with a select team of negotiators, would be heading to the summit. In the meantime, the Earth fleet needed to solidify its position and prepare for any potential resurgence from the Tselrians. The crew members worked tirelessly to repair and upgrade their ships, ensuring they were ready for any eventuality. The constant hum of machinery and the clatter of tools became the backdrop to the fleet's preparations. Sarah and her team continued their analysis, working around the clock to refine their understanding of the Tselrians' technology. They developed a plan to disable the energy weapon if it became necessary. The plan involved a coordinated strike targeting the weapon's power core, but it required precise timing and execution. As the days passed, the diplomatic summit approached. General Rodriguez and her team boarded a diplomatic shuttle, their demeanor a blend of hope and wariness. The shuttle's journey through space was quiet, the stars outside offering a serene contrast to the tension within. Upon arrival at the neutral space station, the Earth delegation was greeted by Tselrian representatives. The station was a neutral zone, a symbol of peace amidst the conflict. The Tselrians, though wary, were open to dialogue. Their leader, High Commander Zurich, was known for his pragmatic approach to diplomacy. The initial meeting was tense. Both sides laid out their positions and grievances. The Tselrians were concerned about their security and territorial integrity, while the Earth delegation emphasized the need for mutual respect and cooperation. The discussions were intricate and fraught with underlying animosities, but there were also moments of tentative understanding. High Commander Zarek expressed a willingness to negotiate, but his terms were stringent. The Tselrians wanted assurances that the disputed territories would remain under their control and that Earth's military presence would be reduced. The Earth delegation, while not fully conceding to these demands, acknowledged the need for compromise and agreed to further discussions. The summit ended with a tentative agreement to establish a ceasefire and continue negotiations. The Tselrians and Earth forces would halt offensive operations while discussions continued. It was a fragile peace, but it offered a glimmer of hope amidst the ongoing conflict. Back on the vanguard, General Rodriguez and her team awaited the outcome of the summit. The ceasefire provided a temporary reprieve, but the situation remained precarious. The Earth fleet continued its preparations, aware that the next phase of the conflict could be just around the corner. As the Earth delegation returned to their fleet, they reflected on the summit's outcome. The potential for peace was promising, but the reality of war remained a constant shadow. The fleet's focus shifted to maintaining readiness and ensuring that their strategic position was secure. The echoes of the past and the uncertainty of the future lingered in the minds of the crew. The battle had been a testament to human strength and resilience, but the path forward was still fraught with challenges. The Earth fleet, united and resolute, stood ready to face whatever came next in the ongoing struggle for survival and peace. The tide turns. As the ceasefire held, the Earth fleet found a rare moment of respite. The damaged ships were undergoing repairs, and the crew took a breather from the constant strain of battle. The atmosphere on the Vanguard was one of cautious optimism. The summit had opened a door to potential peace, but the war-weary crew knew better than to let their guard down. General Ana Rodriguez and her senior staff had their hands full managing both the fleet's repair efforts and the complex diplomatic situation. The latest intelligence reports indicated that the Tsaurians were consolidating their forces and preparing for their next move. The ceasefire was a tactical pause rather than a resolution, and both sides were acutely aware of this. On the Vanguard, Sarah Mitchell and her team continued to refine their strategy for countering the Tsaurians' advanced energy weapon. They were busy developing new countermeasures and testing them in simulations. The weapon's weakness had been identified, but exploiting it required precision and coordination. Colonel James Harris, overseeing the repair operations, was constantly reviewing status reports. The damage sustained during the battle had been significant, but the crew's expertise and determination ensured that the repairs were progressing steadily. The ships were being upgraded with improved defensive systems and enhanced weaponry. As the days passed, the Earth delegation's negotiations with the Tsaurians continued. The discussions were proving to be more challenging than anticipated. The Tsaurians, though willing to negotiate, remained adamant about their territorial claims and the reduction of Earth's military presence in the region. The diplomatic process was slow and fraught with tension. Both sides had entrenched positions, and finding common ground was proving to be difficult. The Earth delegation, led by General Rodriguez, worked tirelessly to bridge the gaps and build a framework for a lasting peace. Amidst the diplomatic efforts, a new development emerged. A faction within the Tsaurian ranks, dissatisfied with the High Command's negotiation approach, began to agitate for more aggressive actions. This faction viewed the ceasefire as a sign of weakness and sought to reignite the conflict to achieve their objectives. The presence of this faction created additional complexity in the negotiations. The Earth delegation had to navigate not only the official Tsaurian position, but also the influence of this hardline group. The risk of a renewed conflict loomed large, and the stakes were high. General Rodriguez was acutely aware of the precarious balance. The ceasefire had provided a temporary lull in the fighting, but it was clear that both sides were preparing for the possibility of renewed hostilities. The Earth fleet needed to remain vigilant and ready to respond to any potential escalation. In a bid to strengthen their position, the Earth fleet conducted a series of joint exercises with Allied forces. These exercises were designed to enhance coordination and readiness in the event of a sudden escalation. The drills were rigorous and demanding, pushing the crew to their limits. The training exercises were a critical component of the fleet's strategy. They not only kept the crew sharp but also served as a deterrent to the Tsaurians. The show of strength and preparedness was intended to convey that Earth was ready to defend its interests and respond decisively if necessary. The negotiations continued to evolve, with occasional breakthroughs and setbacks. Both sides made concessions and sought to find areas of agreement. The Earth delegation, led by General Rodriguez, remained committed to achieving a peaceful resolution, while also preparing for the possibility of continued conflict. As the ceasefire period approached its end, the atmosphere on the Vanguard was a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The crew was well aware that the next few days could determine the future of the conflict. They continued their preparations, balancing their efforts between diplomacy and readiness for combat. The Tsaurians, too, were preparing for the next phase of their strategy. The hardline faction's influence was growing, and their rhetoric was becoming increasingly bellicose. The Earth delegation faced the challenge of addressing this faction's demands while maintaining the broader peace process. General Rodriguez's leadership was put to the test as she navigated the complex and volatile situation. Her commitment to achieving a peaceful resolution remained unwavering, but she was also prepared to take decisive action if the ceasefire collapsed. The days leading up to the end of the ceasefire were tense. Both sides braced for the possibility of renewed conflict. The Earth fleet remained on high alert, with all eyes on the evolving diplomatic and military situation. As the deadline for the ceasefire approached, a final round of negotiations was scheduled. The outcome of these talks would be crucial in determining whether the peace process could be salvaged or whether the conflict would escalate once again. The Earth delegation, led by General Rodriguez, was determined to achieve a lasting resolution. The challenges were immense, but the hope for peace drove their efforts. The crew of the Vanguard remained steadfast, ready to face whatever came next with the resilience and determination that had characterized their journey thus far. The turning point. The final round of negotiations loomed large as the ceasefire deadline approached. The atmosphere on the Vanguard was electric with anticipation and apprehension. General Ana Rodriguez and her team were preparing for what could be a make-or-break moment in the peace process. The stakes were incredibly high, and the tension was palpable among the crew. The Xelrian delegation arrived for the crucial talks, accompanied by a contingent of their military advisors. The Earth delegation, led by General Rodriguez, met them in the grand conference room aboard the Vanguard. The room was meticulously arranged, reflecting the importance of the occasion. Flags of both factions adorned the walls, symbolizing the gravity of the negotiations. As the discussions began, the atmosphere was tense but professional. Both sides were acutely aware that the outcome of these talks could shape the future of their relationship. General Rodriguez opened the session with a statement of commitment to peace, emphasizing Earth's desire for a lasting and equitable resolution to the conflict. The Xelrians, led by their chief negotiator, Sarah Kelder, responded with their own set of demands. The Xelrians were firm in their territorial claims and insisted on specific concessions from Earth, including a reduction in military presence and joint resource sharing in contested areas. Their demands were substantial, and it was clear that the hardline faction's influence was shaping their stance. The negotiations were a complex dance of diplomacy and strategy. Each side presented their positions, countered with rebuttals, and sought compromises. The process was arduous and fraught with moments of intense debate. Both General Rodriguez and Sarah Kelder navigated the discussions with skill, but the underlying tensions were never far from the surface. In parallel with the negotiations, the Earth fleet continued its readiness drills. The crew of the Vanguard remained on high alert, prepared for any eventuality. The exercises were designed to ensure that they could respond swiftly and effectively if the ceasefire collapsed. The drills were rigorous, reflecting the seriousness of the situation and the need for absolute preparedness. Amidst the ongoing discussions, a breakthrough occurred. A proposal emerged that suggested a compromise on the territorial disputes. The idea was to establish a demilitarized zone in the contested areas, with both sides agreeing to mutual monitoring and joint resource management. This proposal aimed to address some of the Xelrians' demands while preserving Earth's strategic interests. The proposal was met with cautious optimism by both delegations. General Rodriguez and her team evaluated the potential benefits and risks of the compromise. It was a significant shift from the previous positions, and it required careful consideration of how it would impact the broader peace process. As the negotiations progressed, there was a noticeable shift in tone. The discussions became more focused on finding common ground and less on entrenched positions. The representatives of both sides engaged in more constructive dialogue, exploring creative solutions to the remaining issues. The turning point came when a tentative agreement was reached on the demilitarized zone. Both sides agreed to a pilot project in one of the contested regions, where they would jointly manage resources and oversee the establishment of the zone. This pilot project was seen as a test case for the broader implementation of the agreement. The agreement marked a significant achievement in the peace process. It demonstrated a willingness on both sides to compromise and work towards a sustainable resolution. However, it was clear that this was only the beginning. The full implementation of the agreement would require ongoing cooperation and vigilance. As the negotiations concluded, the mood on the Vanguard was one of cautious relief. The crew knew that the path to peace was still fraught with challenges, but the progress made was a hopeful sign. The next steps involved implementing the agreement and monitoring its effectiveness. General Rodriguez addressed the crew, acknowledging their dedication and resilience throughout the conflict. She emphasized the importance of staying vigilant and prepared, even as the peace process advanced. The crew's commitment to their mission and their unwavering resolve had been instrumental in reaching this point. In the coming days, the Earth fleet would focus on implementing the terms of the agreement and continuing its readiness drills. The pilot project in the demilitarized zone would be closely monitored to ensure its success. The collaborative efforts between Earth and the Xelrians would be a critical test of their ability to sustain peace. The Earth delegation, including General Rodriguez, would continue to engage with their Xelrian counterparts to address any emerging issues and work towards a comprehensive resolution. The goal was to build on the momentum of the agreement and pave the way for a lasting and stable peace. As the crew of the Vanguard prepared for the next phase, the sense of determination and hope was palpable. They had navigated through the complexities of war and diplomacy, and now they faced the challenge of forging a new path forward. The lessons learned from the conflict and the negotiations would guide their efforts as they worked towards a future where peace and cooperation could flourish. The journey was far from over, but the progress made in the negotiations was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of both sides. The turning point had been reached, and the next steps would shape the future of the Earth-Xelrian relationship. A new dawn. The implementation of the peace agreement was set to begin, and the atmosphere aboard the Vanguard was filled with a mix of anticipation and resolve. With the pilot project for the demilitarized zone underway, both the Earth and Xelrian teams were keenly aware that this was a pivotal moment in their newly established relationship. The next few weeks would be crucial in determining the future of their cooperation and the potential for lasting peace. General Ana Rodriguez and her team prepared for the inaugural inspection of the demilitarized zone. This marked the first real test of the agreement's viability and required a high level of coordination between Earth and Xelrian forces. The zone, located in a strategically important but contested region, was to be jointly monitored by representatives from both sides. The goal was to ensure that the terms of the agreement were adhered to and that any potential issues were addressed promptly. The initial setup involved a thorough review of the area, with teams from both factions working side by side. The Earth and Xelrian teams conducted joint patrols and established communication protocols to ensure smooth operations. The collaborative effort was a significant departure from the previous adversarial interactions, and it was a step towards building mutual trust and understanding. During the first week of the pilot project, there were several instances of tension. Small incidents, such as miscommunications or minor breaches of protocol, tested the resolve of both teams. However, the leadership on both sides was committed to overcoming these challenges. General Rodriguez and Xara Kildar, the Xelrian chief negotiator, worked closely to address any issues and reinforce the importance of cooperation. Despite the challenges, there were notable successes. The establishment of joint resource management systems and the implementation of shared security measures were significant milestones. The teams were able to demonstrate their capability to manage the zone effectively, and the initial results were promising. The project was seen as a potential model for resolving other contested areas in the future. As the weeks progressed, the atmosphere within the demilitarized zone began to shift. The initial tensions gave way to a growing sense of camaraderie and mutual respect. Earth and Xelrian personnel shared meals, exchanged stories, and worked together on various projects aimed at improving the living conditions within the zone. These interactions helped to humanize the other side and build relationships that went beyond mere diplomacy. The success of the pilot project was celebrated with a formal ceremony attended by representatives from both Earth and the Xelrian delegation. The ceremony was a symbolic gesture of the progress made and a recognition of the hard work and dedication of both teams. It also served as a reminder of the potential for peace and cooperation when both sides are committed to working together. In the aftermath of the ceremony, the focus shifted to evaluating the effectiveness of the demilitarized zone and planning for its expansion. The pilot project had provided valuable insights and lessons that would inform future efforts. General Rodriguez and her team, along with their Xelrian counterparts, began to develop strategies for scaling up the project and addressing any remaining concerns. The broader peace process continued to advance, with ongoing negotiations aimed at addressing other aspects of the agreement. The collaborative spirit that had emerged from the pilot project extended to these discussions, leading to constructive dialogues and incremental progress. The commitment to peace and mutual respect was evident in the way both sides approached the negotiations. As the Earth-Xelrian partnership evolved, the Vanguard played a crucial role in maintaining the momentum. The crew remained vigilant and dedicated, aware of the significance of their mission. They continued to conduct readiness drills and ensure that they were prepared for any potential developments. The success of the peace efforts was seen as a testament to their hard work and perseverance. The future of the Earth-Xelrian relationship was still unfolding, and there were challenges ahead. However, the progress made through the pilot project and the ongoing negotiations provided a foundation for continued cooperation. The lessons learned from the conflict and the peace process would guide future interactions and contribute to a more stable and harmonious relationship. As the Vanguard sailed through the stars, its crew carried with them the hope and optimism that had emerged from their efforts. The journey from conflict to cooperation was a testament to the resilience of humanity and the potential for positive change. The path to peace was paved with hard work, dedication, and a commitment to understanding and respect. The Earth and Xelrian story was one of transformation and growth. From the initial doubts and hostilities to the establishment of a collaborative partnership, it illustrated the power of diplomacy and the potential for bridging divides. The new dawn of their relationship was a beacon of hope for future interactions and a reminder of the strength found in unity. As the narrative of the Earth-Xelrian peace process continued to unfold, the crew of the Vanguard stood as a symbol of the enduring spirit of cooperation and the promise of a brighter future. Their journey was a reminder that even in the face of conflict, the pursuit of peace and mutual understanding could lead to profound and lasting change.